I'd argue that it's even more important when someone does something really good to let them know that, holy shit, this is really impactful, this is exactly what I want, and that is what this video really is. If this is the direction that future Final Fantasy XIV content is going to take, I am a strong advocate for it and I support it fully. What I'm speaking about specifically here is in M6S, the Savage version, there is going to be what is called an ads phase. Even if you never plan to touch Savage, this might be incredibly important content to you, so I wouldn't just tune it out, because this introduced a whole slew of mechanics that we have not seen in Final Fantasy XIV in, my lord, a very, very long time. Long story very short is that we are not used to getting AoE fights like this, where we're having to cleave and decide, are we going to single target focus something, are we going to spam AoE damage, as well as all the other mechanics. Take the different roles in the game. Obviously you have tanks, healers, and DPS, but when you have the ranged physical DPS doing something different than the caster, and then you have all of the orchestra of mechanics like melee DPS using their stuns. Yes, that's a thing. For those who haven't done that, we're looking at actual crowd control in this. We're looking at, hey, maybe if there's a Jabberwock that is going to just chase down the healer that's rooted in the southeast corner, we're going to want to single target burst that and try and get as many cleaves off in the AoE pack as possible, as well as like tank positioning. Tank positioning is something that we haven't looked at in a very long time. Not to mention the tanks are obviously going to need pretty precise mitigations, and they are going to be taking a crap ton of damage that the healers are going to have to resolve in the meantime with that. So the healers are definitely not getting a free pass. Like as you're seeing in my footage, I'm keeping pretty close eye on the tank's health, and you can see it zip up and down, and this tank, for the record, is really, really good. There have been tanks that I've just seen just get crushed instantly. And when I say crushed instantly, I mean like they have the Yans on them and their HP is going from like 200 to like 0, like nobody's business. It's crazy. Also, ranged DPS, by merit of being ranged DPS, are also baiting all these AoE puddles off in the corners. Basically, my point is, all of the roles feel fresh, unique, their strengths feel relevant, and that feels so freaking good. I'm gonna bring up from the bowels of hell a term that a lot of people might not know, but for those who were around at the time, you know what moment of glory is or was. This basically gave every single person in the group, this ads phase, gave them their moment of glory. You have the Viper doing chop 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 chop. You have the Viper doing chop chop chop, chopping down all the AoE on the mobs. You have the healers that are pumping out heals and dealing with the Jabberwock and all that stuff. They're throwing on extra mitigations onto the tank and everything. The tanks are pulling the mobs from one side to the other side and then trying to make it so that there's maximal cleave on all the mobs you have. You're either going to single focus target down something. Like during the first thing, I'm going to be like standing on top of the Yan, which is the ram, and that's because the Gimme Cat actually will jump on me. And why am I standing there is just so that we can get more cleave onto that cat in order to focus fire it down. As well as we have like a burst window there, and it feels so fucking good. Like we all have our moment of glory there, and I know for those who know what I'm talking about and referencing, like cringe, but it kind of feels like that situation. Everyone has their key part to play in this, and it feels really good. Your role, your unique role, feels highly relevant and specialized, and that feels so rewarding. And see, I'm going to be a little bit of a jerk here. There's a lot of people that will try and disagree with me, but I will argue that AoE in Final Fantasy XIV has never really been that relevant, especially in Savage content. Then you can argue, oh, dungeon content. Yeah, but dungeon content never has time pressure. Trust me, I know. A lot of DPS aren't even doing their single target rotation in a pack of 5 mobs, and I'm going, But, we've never seen that here. I mean, lie, we have seen it, like, back during Heaven's Ward, like, you had the Gobbies, and then you had the AoE there, but we haven't seen it in such a long time that seeing it is really refreshing, because most of our fights, including Futures Rewritten, are just single target, and then I reach back into the depths of my mind, and then I'm like, well, what is an iconic ads phase that we've had? It would literally be during E8S, when you had her, like, disappear, and then you had to look at all the different crystals and really focus fire everything. And remember, that was one of the, at the time, it was regarded as one of the hardest fights in the game, bar none. It very much was iconic, I'll put it that way. It had no door to it, and then the ads phase, you'll just start right back from the start. And I think that that was also another refreshing thing. So seeing it come back is something that I think that we need to make very loud. Like, holy shit, this is so cool. It's not just a one target boss that we're all just focus firing down. And I'm gonna be a little bit of a jerk here, but if you go into Party Finder and have done M6S like me, you learn very quickly. And remember, these are week 1 raiders that cleared M5S. I think that a lot of people are going to have a very hard time clearing M5S week 1. I'm going to say that. But, so no one in M6 is bad. Objectively, factually true. But you can tell people just don't know their AoE rotation. It was never asked of them. And so you have people doing whatever the fuck and just completely failing out. And it's really obvious when that happens. But that's because this hasn't been tested in so very long. And even when... I'm going to go back to the E8S thing. Even in E8S, were we really doing AoE cleave? Were we really doing single target prioritization in the middle of AoE cleave? No, we absolutely were not. So you know what, I'm gonna backtrack. I know people jump off the video at whatever point, but I'm gonna say, even E8S didn't give us that. Maybe the Gobby one in Heaven's Ward really was the last time that we actually had like a real AoE phase. And so what that means is years and years and years and years. And years ago, back when I was a spring chicken, there was AoE cleave. Okay, Grandpa, we're taking you to the senior center. Come on. But, I mean, in that, there's a lot of truth. The devs are bringing back these concepts and refreshing them. Like, I remember that you needed to have that Gobwalker thing back in the day, but instead now you're going to need to manually use your kit as, like, a melee DPS, and no, hey, I have, like, low blow or whatever it's called to stun them. I actually could check, but I'm going off of my memory. If it's not low blow, I apologize. I think it is, though. Then the tanks obviously have that. Well, Paladin also has a strength there. Paladin's shield bash is 6 seconds. Hey, that's something that's unique. Wait. These actually have defining unique things that they bring? That's cool. One example of what I've seen very much flamed is Machinist. And I will say, I used what is specifically called the Yuki strat, and I don't know what strat others are using, but a ranged physical DPS in that strategy will have to really focus fire like a target, one target, and maybe Machinist's AoE is a little bad, I will give you that, but what I've seen, because I personally have cleared ads phase, what, 25-30 times or something like that with a Machinist, is that Machinists, when played properly, have no issue during ads phase, and I have the logs on Tombstone to prove it. Everyone can see that I'm not lying. So I never really understood, now that I have seen it and I understand the ads phase thoroughly, I do not understand the Machinist hate. I really don't. And people are like, oh, Machinist is impossible and blah blah blah, and that's like, well, your ranged physical DPS is needing to focus fire target for like 80-90% of the ads phase, and Machinist doesn't pass around their damage to other people, and so that makes them more self-sufficient. And self-sufficiency in ads phase, where everyone has their different things that they need to prioritize, is very important, because you don't want someone who is respectfully dead weight or an anchor that you need to make up for. And so I don't really understand the Machinist hate, but that's just a little bit of an aside. But in terms of other job strengths, I would say I did take White Mage through this. Part of me... Seriously, I was thinking about maybe swapping to Astro, because I do believe that Astro does have a distinct, pronounced advantage in single target healing. Things like Sinistry. When the fuck have you seen someone unironically talk about Sinistry? There were people years ago that were saying, just delete it from the game, and I couldn't have disagreed more with them. And this is the exact reason why I wouldn't want it removed and homogenized. Can we please stop homogenizing every fun detail of the game, please? And I'm not off that one yet, trust me, I'm not. But Sinistry is still here. And Sinistry, in this instance, is fucking powerful. You basically amplify your healing on a single tank, like the off tank, that is absolutely, even with proper mitigation, being chunked. Not to mention the Astro also has the different cards that you can throw onto them, and it's just, you see the strengths of these jobs come out. And I think that that is probably one of the more rewarding parts of this. But I suppose back to White Mage, sorry. I just was like, wait, I need to mention that Sinistry actually has a use case now, and it's a very powerful use case. Very good ability there, like, very good, and I want to see more instances where I need that. Like, White Mage, Afflatus preparation before you go into ads phase, and then just blowing the shit out of the furries just makes me so fucking happy. You can hear their little squirrely screams going, "Hear me scream!" Just fucking blowing them up. I call it a flatulence misery because now I'm to the gym and I'd have so much protein, honest to God. Maybe I can edit in. Let's see. Yeah. Basically doing that on the squirrels felt fucking great. And then what, you pop into your burst and then you get all the glare floors off and then you just see the squirrel furries just absolutely explode. And I'm just like, this feels so good. And then you also throw in a size there. White Mage felt very good there, and I think that's the only reason why I kept doing it. Not because it's objectively stronger, because it is fucking definitely not. But holy shit, that actually felt good. And again, people are just like, oh, you hate one-bun rotations. Yeah, I absolutely do, and White Mage thankfully deviates from that at least a little. It's not exactly what I want, but it gave me enough dopamine when I was bombing the shit out of the squirrels. I'm like, yes! Fucking die. Trust me, when you get rooted in the little sub-bottom corner, I know some of you sub-bottoms would like that. Freaking bottoms. But when you get put in the subby bottom corner and then you see those little demonic little furries coming at you, trust me, there is a few things as cathartic as bombing the shit out of them with impunity. It feels so good. They're like, and I'm like, yes, revenge. It's actually kind of horrifying when you think about it. I'm getting rooted in a corner and I'm having furry animals kill the shit out of me. Ew. What the fuck? It's actually really fucked up. But wrapping it up with a bow. This video is me putting out into the world, holy shit, I want more of this. This is great. Obviously, I think that this should be started to be introduced in more casual forms of content. This is interesting. This is very interesting. Obviously, not with the same level of intensity. Like, let's not be crazy here. But I think introducing stuff like this is something that we should be asking for as a community. This was refreshing. It was fun. It gave us, quote unquote, our moment of glory. It gave all the roles something unique. You saw the use of abilities. Like, how often in a Savage raid does a White Mage actually use Aquaveil? Oh, but you should always use it off the GC. Shut the fuck up. No one actually uses it off the GCD in normal raids. But not using it during ads phase, your tank is gonna go crunchy as the Yans bash it into oblivion. Like, oh my god, this felt so good. This felt good. I want more of it. And that is the only fucking reason when I'm so depressed that I'm making a video. Because I need to get it out in the world. Cleared M success. Fucking love it. Want more of this ads phase. The phases after and before, they were good, but it's what we really saw before. Specifically, this ads phase, brilliant. If we can please insert this into more casual forms of content, maybe alliance raids and like dungeons, like make this more of a part of the game. This was interesting. This is very, very, very interesting. Stunning, cleaving, single target, pryos, and all this shit. More. Please more. This is exactly what I want for this. This actually, I will say it. I went to the media tour and they were talking about 7.0 being the combat design overhaul. I honestly was a little bit skeptical. Yeah, I saw like the combat was more fun and that they were experimenting a bit more. This ads phase made me truly, honestly, honest to God, believe that statement in full. I want to see more of this. This is brilliant. This is great. And that is why I made a video. Now time to go back to crying my ass off because I still don't have a fucking boyfriend and I am so fucking demoralized about that. M's success, though, is dead, like my love life and dreams of ever being loved and held again.